There are so many games on Roblox. Some get popular, some die out, some forgotten. But one game popped up out of seemingly nowhere and took Roblox by storm. Doors. People loved it. The quality, the horror, the atmosphere. It was incredible. Doors became more than just a game. It shows the true potential of Roblox and how creating a game that's actually unique, actually creative, can turn out like this. So let's step back into that elevator and see how Doors changed Roblox forever. Now, of course, this video could have very well been titled The Game That Changed Roblox Forever. Rooms, but I feel like talking about that game for however long this video is gonna be would get a little boring. But I definitely want to acknowledge it because without it, Doors may have never existed, or at least not how we know it today. So, credit where credit is due, thank you to the Rooms for starting this. But back to Doors. It all started with just two people, that being L-Splash and Redibles. Before Doors, they made a few other games like Vocab Havoc, a version of Wordle where you compete against other players, and the game was cool and all, but his first real success was with a game called Ragdoll Universe. It's a shooter with elements of ragdoll physics. There's lots of weapons, tons of maps, and amazing soundtracks. The game saw quite the success, racking up over 48 million visits. But the game you probably know him for is Doors, released on August 10th, 2022. It was an extremely unique horror game about opening doors, something no one was expecting to get so big, but I guess that's exactly what Roblox needed at the time, because it was an immediate hit, with over 10,000 players in their first day, or so I've been told, and only going up from there. The game was much more simple at the time of release, with only one floor, 14 entities, 4 items if you don't include puzzle items like keys. So how did such a simple game, made from such a small and little-known dev team, become so influential to Roblox? Well, first of all, the game was different. We've never seen anything quite like it. When Doors first released, it leaned a lot more into the horror aspect, trying a lot harder to keep things scary and mysterious. The game wasn't like most of the other popular games. It wasn't blindingly colorful, there wasn't an endless amount of pop-ups and loot boxes asking for unreasonable amounts of Robux. In fact, there was only one small store, and it was one small page. You can tell they weren't trying to squeeze every last penny out of your wallet, but that's not the only thing that you'll notice. Because just look at these graphics. When the game was first released, it was extremely rare to find a game that looked this good, that was just so polished, and the fact that people were questioning how this was even on Roblox is how you know the developers did a good job. And then the content creators started to notice this game, and it wasn't just people who made Roblox videos, everyone needed to try out this new game. And with this being a horror game, it was very different from all the other ones on the platform who relied on mostly jump scares and making their environment so dark you literally can't see anything. They took the horror elements and tried to slow it down, relying on the atmosphere becoming unsettling. The ambient noises in the background have you wondering, is there something watching me in the shadows? Or was it really just the wind? All the scary stuff slowly builds up, with the sea guys suddenly disappearing in a suspiciously long hallway, and we all know how that ends up. Something else they do really well is the whole trial and error aspect, giving you a warning before you even join in the game to not watch any tutorials, and to figure it out on your own. Every death gives you a little bit more information on how to survive longer the next time. All of this was refreshing from the games that throw absolutely everything they have at you to keep you hooked, but Doors took it slow. And I guess that's exactly what Roblox players needed because the game continued to grow. Within just a few weeks of the game being out, it averaged at around 60 or 70,000. I didn't mean to do that. Then, just like when any other game gets popular, a swarm of copycats and knockoffs start appearing, and eventually there's just absurd, humongous amounts of games that were Doors but bad, Doors but horrible, Doors but kawaii, Doors but YouTuber. And eventually, there were some really good fan games. And I know a lot of these came out after some of the Doors updates that I'm going to be talking about later on in the video, but I just want to talk about this now because I'm already on the topic. Now, most Doors fan games weren't too good, but there were some Doors fan games that were actually really good, like The Lost Floors, The Foundation, Haunt, and games that sort of separated as their own thing and became extremely loved by their own community, like Pressure and Grace. Pressure is like Doors, but underwater. It has absolutely impeccable music, boss fights, chases, and just amazing quality overall. The lore is completely different from Doors, with both the story and the way they tell their story. Grace is a really fast-paced game with amazing movement and some entities similar to Doors, but a really unique graphical style, and some really interesting lore. So yeah, Doors inspired a lot of games on the platform, bringing some amazing experiences because of developers taking their little twist to the Doors formula, which is great because it's just more Doors content to fit with the Doors feel. But speaking of getting more content, that's exactly what Doors updates do, obviously. Doors treated updates different than a lot of other games. Instead of doing weekly updates or even monthly updates, they decided to take their time and really think out and polish the update. And eventually, with enough hype, they became more of a big event or a special occasion than just a simple update. So, like I said before, Doors released on August 10th, 2022. And for the first few months, nothing big was added, other than a play again button after you die, the ability for Glitch to save you from rooms that didn't generate properly, a code redeem feature in the shop, guiding light in dark rooms, and a few bug fixes. These little updates were scattered across the first few months of Doors' existence, but it was evident that players wanted more. Something bigger. So, the developers got hard at work on their first major update. Eventually, players got the announcement that they're working on a new update, and it's not actually a second floor, but an overhaul to the hotel. Players were very, very excited, and they didn't know what to expect because this was the first major update coming to the game. But then we started getting some teasers, like this video teasing Dread that never ended up making it in that update, and later was fully implemented in the mines. Teasers of Jeff's shop, broken rooms, and even things we've never seen and were never implemented to this day. Hype was at an all-time high, and players were eagerly awaiting a trailer. And eventually it dropped, and trailer and update trailer had the combined views over 12.4 million. So the update was scheduled to release December 2022, but then when the second trailer dropped, it ended up being delayed until January of the next year. So when January finally rolled around and the update dropped, the game immediately got over 500,000 players at once. The players absolutely loved it. At this point, the developers knew that Doors updates had so much hype, so much excitement surrounding them, that they had to get hard at work on the next ones. A few small updates came out after Hotel Plus, like the backdoor and modifiers, until we got news of by far the most anticipated update, Floor 2. The development took a long time, but the trailer eventually came out, and with all three trailers combined, had over 12.7 million views. And after a quick little trolling, the release date was revealed as being August 30th, 2024. Come the release date, the game rose to over 300 to 400,000 players at once. But the release of this update was a lot buggier than the last. But they ended up fixing most of them relatively quickly, and the players still loved the update. Now, since then, we've gotten the content update and Great Outdoors, if you're not counting events. And I'm super excited for the upcoming Rooms revamp, or as some people are calling it, Content Update 2, and Floor 3. But I've talked way more than enough about the history of Doors, so how did Doors change Roblox, and what impacts did it have on the games and the platform as a whole? Okay, so not only did Doors inspire a whole bunch of fan games, but it pretty much created an entire genre of horror on Roblox. I've heard the term Doors-like games from a bunch of people, as if they were just talking about a subgenre of games. But the reason the game got so popular is because of its insane quality. It almost feels like a standalone game, which is why Roblox themselves uses this game to show the true power of their game engine. which is why when they make a Roblox event, Doors is always invited. But it also shows that you don't need to have a huge team of people to make good games. In the beginning, and for most of Doors' development, it was made by only 2 people. Eventually, they added a few more people onto the team, but it's still mainly made by 2 people, with a few extra devs on the side. With that being said, a lot of developers at the time wanted to make high-quality games, seeing the success of this one. Now, a few years later, or months down the line, did most developers try to make high-quality games? Well, no. Just look at the trending tab today, but still. No more of the times of Roblox just being known as the blocky, stud-textured platform where kids make cart ride into a Minecraft zombie, but something almost comparable to things like Steam. Really, Doors has become one of those Roblox staples, like Piggy or Natural Disasters. So, however many years later, the game will be treated that exact same way. People will say, back in my day, we had good games, talking about Doors. It's funny to think about, but I'm sure it'll happen. But something that is sure to happen is the fact that this video will come to an end. So, if you enjoyed the video, consider leaving a like and maybe even subscribing. I would appreciate it a ton, and you'll get to see more videos like this. So thank you so much for watching all the way to the end.
Have an impeccable day.
And goodbye.